Let's try this again.
All right.
So one of the challenges of working from home in a new place that I don't know very well yet, I'm having some instability issues.
So what'd you say?
I'm having some internet instability issues.
Really?
And, you know, before I go back to the company to try to deal with it, I'm on this kick right now of trying to figure out like if there's something about my setup that's causing a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, sometimes technology just doesn't want to work the way it's supposed to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah. Are you working from home full time and have been since this whole thing? Okay.
And yeah. It has turned into, you know, a lot of alone time. I will say that one of the things that I am liking is that sort of my personal desk space and my professional desk space, I can't have it all together, but I've sort of got it side by side now.
Okay.
It means that in some respects, I'm actually doing a better job of using my planner to kind of stay on top of things in a way that I didn't always do when I was carting it back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, you always talk about your planner stays on your desk.
Yeah.
Because your desk is at home. Well,
right.
Guess what? When you have that situation,
it's there. It's just open.
It's there, and it's how you use it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, let's get started by talking about. Let's see. Well, first of all, you use Inkwell Press Flex, yeah?
Yes.
Most like a ride or die horizontal since birth planner person.
I am, and I did a little bit of prep for this. So,
okay, cool.
So yeah, I have lots of things to show you.
Awesome. So you're a horizontal person and have been horizontal forever, and you've been Inkwell for how long have you used? I don't actually know the answer to that one. Since the beginning, since she came out in 20, no. Okay.
I think, well, so I was thinking about what is it that I'm always curious about with other people that prompted to like even suggest this.
Oh my God, Doug, you're like the reason this is happening. I totally forgot about that.
So one of the things that I'm always fascinated by is when people talk about like, what do you do with your old planners? And so I'm coming back around to your question.
You're fine. Go. You're good.
The Inkwell Discbound. And so one of the things that I've figured out in the past couple of years is I can't keep everything. So at the end of the year, I really go through and I throw away notes pages and everything else. And then if you can see back there,
yep,
there are
those planners, yep,
years, and so on and so forth. But this box,
yes,
is every planner I've ever had.
Like in your life? Wait, get out. Like since like what, college or something? Or that's epic right there, Amy. That needs like a picture or some kind of something.
It's kind of crazy. And so, you know, how far back does it go? The answer is this. This is high school. And it's the college planner from the college that I was going to.
Right.
So this is the first one that I really used. So this is my freshman year of college.
God, great.
Where's the date?
I think
88, 89 academic year. So I was flipping through this. I went and grabbed this. You know, I just moved. So I know where everything is.
Yeah.
So I grabbed this box, pulled this out of it, and started flipping through it. And so when you say I am ride or die horizontal, this is the reason.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I mean,
So
that's how your brain has to work now after that
it's
long.
how my brain has to work. And, you know, my sister went to the same college, and as a
Oh,
result, she and I have this conversation from time to time that, I mean, we had this conversation for years about like trying to find the right planner. And when I look at the planners that are in this box, it's always interesting to me to see like which years I leaned in and really used it and which years I struggled, and like reflecting back on, and if I wasn't really keeping track of stuff, you know, I have periods of my life where I just don't feel like I remember as much about what was going on.
yeah.
And when I look back, it's because I wasn't really leaning in and using a planner.
Interesting.
So early on, it was all about, you know, keeping track of times and events.
Okay, like appointments and things going on.
Yeah, and it was, and a lot of this was, you know, here's a quiz that I had to prepare for. Here's dinner that I was going to dinner with somebody. This was a dance.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, no chemistry help session this day. You know, so this is a lot of this, but this is what I got so excited about. These are ticket stubs. So apparently,
you kind of did a little memory keeping.
Yeah, in college, I did this thing where I pasted my ticket stubs in.
Oh, that's cool.
They're taped in. But like, you know, I went to see the Bangles.
Yes.
I could not have told you that I saw the Bangles.
Oh my gosh.
You know, so, but there are a lot of ticket stubs in this, which is really funny.
So cool.
But you know, there's a ticket stub in here for the Indiana Pacers versus the Boston Celtics.
Oh my God.
I told you that I had gone to that game.
Oh, wild.
You know, so just like crazy stuff. Here, you know, here's going to see the musical Cats.
Cool.
Not really. I'm not.
No, I've never seen it.
Really love Broadway. Really not excited about Cats. What is interesting is that I actually went to two. I went to two that, you know, the weeks that I went to two. I think this is really interesting, like looking back.
Yeah.
So there's the genesis of Ride or Die.
Horizontal. Yeah.
And there's my for better or for worse answer about what do I do with my old planners.
So you've always just kept them. Like, do you know, like initially what prompted you to keep them? Like, does it feel like a memory keeping thing? Does it feel like a journal? Is there an intention, or it just happened, do you think?
You know, that's a really great question. So I know I'm a little bit of a pack rat. Like at my core, I don't really like to throw things away.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten so much better. And, you know, I've moved twice in the past 14 months or something, which really does make you better at getting rid of stuff. So I've been very intentional in the past, really like 15 years, about what continues to be part of my life. And so it is a little fascinating to me that this has made the cut.
Yeah.
I would say early on, it was just like, why would I throw that away? I don't know. I have a shelf. I'll just put it on the shelf. I will say though, you know, if I were to take a deep dive into those college planners, I'm sure that I recorded some really interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend who, a guy, and we all had those planners in college, like men and girls, men and women both. It wasn't it wasn't a memory keeping thing, whatever.
Yeah.
But I had a friend who wrote down in his planner every single day what he wore.
Really? That's interesting.
He had his sights set on becoming a politician, and he was very interested in what like that public image was.
That's really interesting.
It really was. And at the time I remember thinking, yeah, no. I'm so Midwestern. Yeah, no.
No, right.
But it was interesting to me to stop and think about like what was important to him versus what was important to me. If you look through all of my planners, who I went to dinner with is probably always going to be in there. And now that I'm going to say this, I'm also going to look back and see March. Because another thing that I keep now, oh, I didn't write it down there. Oh no, that was a baseball game. I'm not seeing it jump right out at me, but one of the things that I always write down now are my college basketball games and the record. Like if they won or lost, I put the W or the L there. Like it's always in my spread. You know, people will see this from time to time. You know, so it really is funny to me to think about like what's important to us and what we keep and all of that. So here's what I prepared for you. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, you can go rock and roll.
I had to restart.
Wait, is it letting you? Hold on, I might have to give you like the permission to do it.
That's what I was going to ask you, but the problem is I restarted my computer, so I had it up and ready to go. It's going to take me just a second.
Once it's ready, you should be able to, I believe.
Not quite yet. Go ahead and say.
Do I have to change you to host? Is it letting you or no?
Now it is.
Okay.
All right. So I shared a couple of things. The first is, this is the slide I use when I give presentations and whatever. And I went ahead and stuck this in here just because I wanted to make sure that I threw out this whole thing of, I know my brain works differently than a lot of people's. First of all, I've got this like whole math thing going that everything is quantitative and, you know, how do we collect data? Like this is sort of where I live in my head. But the flip side is that I also taught high school and I have this whole career around, you know, training and development. So a lot of times I think, you know, we think about why does this thing that somebody else does not work for me? And it's because we're all wired differently, you know. So I love the whole concept of functional planning because it lets us take, you know, my planner is the same planner as somebody else's, but mine's going to look very different because I do what works for me. And then the other thing that I, you know, always slide in there is that I have this like crazy expertise in like reflective learning. How is it that you take this learning and go a little deeper? So recently I've been really focused on this idea of spending less time on the reflective part and more on the end of what I think of reflection, which is how do you take the thing that you did and use it to move forward? You know, looking through the windshield, not in the rearview mirror, right? So I went ahead and set up next week in my planner just a little bit because this is the empty version. So, you know, everybody always wants to know, what does everybody always, you know, use all the spaces for? I don't have this figured out, but this is what I do. So, you know, this is my horizontal inkwell with, and it is not an accident that it is only Knockout Print Shop stickers. I am too lazy to look for anybody else. This is what I like. This is what I use. And so one of the things I don't mind telling you, Jess, is that I was hoping to get out of our conversation today is if you see a place where you're like, there's a better sticker for that.
I know, I'm like looking, thinking if there's.
Yeah, like you let me know.
Okay.
So typically in a week, I use the left side of that horizontal for those sort of timed appointments. And I use the right-hand side for like a to-do list or some memories or other random stuff.
Will the to-do list be both personal and work, or is it just one area of life?
That's a really great question. Because what I have ended up doing, because I use the disc bound. I actually have my work in a different section.
Okay, I kind of remember you saying that somewhere in the.
So I'll come back to that too, but this, so this is all personal.
So this, even the appointments are personal. This isn't work stuff.
Even the appointments are personal.
Okay.
Yeah. The one thing that carries over, sometimes when I have a big event at work, I'll stick it in here. You know, if I'm going to do a 4-hour virtual training session, it's a little bit exhausting.
Oh yeah.
So I'll stick it on my personal page, you know, no times, no detail, but just to kind of like frame my week. Like, you're really tired that night. So you probably aren't going to cook a huge dinner. You're probably going to like tackle, you know, clean out the closet project, whatever. One of the things, and anybody who knows my name from your VIP group knows that I have, you know, really been on this thing this year about that 3-box area, because in 2 of the 4 Inkwell color schemes this year, the 3 daily boxes are pink.
Are they really pink? I know we're talking about that, but I'm looking. Because the first one's blue, no? Yeah, Buenos Aires is blue.
You're right. It is. You're right. So it really is just.
It's too blue.
It is just the February. But holy cow! February threw me for a loop because it was all pink all the time.
Pink,
so
pink.
Yeah, and it's pink. And there are people who like pink, and if you do, and it's a good ombre of pink. I'm not gonna, but it's not me.
No, I'm with you on that.
So definitely last month, I leaned into this thing that I'd been doing for a long time, which is using those daily boxes as like a column in and of themselves that have nothing to do with the days.
Yeah.
So when I went ahead and set this up for next week, I really, I thought, okay, this is like kind of how I've done it. And, I move things around, whatever.
Sure.
But, up there at the top on the left, I've got one of those quote boxes. I love those. You could put those out 3 times a year and I would buy all of them.
I know, I need to come up with some more.
And then down at the bottom, I've got the daily habits. And then over on the right, I'll come back to the action steps, but I have to tell you, I picked this up from you and really am loving the way that this is translating in my planner.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, for sure. And then down at the bottom on the right, and I know that in the vertical for Inkwell, it's kind of over on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
This is the part where it's the weekly focus and the notes section. I've completely repurposed this to be like wins for the week and my sort of weekly reflection. And that wins came from you too, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you were doing that for a while, and I'm discovering that like right now in the place where I am, this is something that's kind of good.
Yeah.
So this is this week. And I covered up a couple of things that didn't need to necessarily be quite so public, but so this is this week. Today is Thursday. And you can see I did, every week's not exactly the same.
Sure.
But so on Monday and Tuesday, you can see I've got like running to-do lists. I am not, I feel no guilt if something that's on the to-do list on Monday doesn't get done on Monday. I do tend to try to front load the week a little bit with the idea that if I put it up there in the Monday, Tuesday space, I should really try to get to those things before Sunday.
Can I ask you a question about that? So if you're doing your list, like you have your Monday, Tuesday, let's say you have something that's on Monday, like you've written it on Monday, it doesn't get done. Are you like a weirdo like me and you'll transfer it to the next day, or it just needs to sit there unchecked in any day and you'll do it?
It just needs to sit there unchecked.
Okay.
And literally, I'm gonna find this in my regular plan. Do I have this? Oh, I think I have this written down. I'll show you in just a second what I do. So this is last week. This is the last one that I photographed for you.
Yeah.
And I don't have the one here, but so you'll notice that last week has stuff that's unchecked in that same space.
Okay. Yep.
It's not checked. I'm still going back and looking at last week.
Oh, okay.
Because in my crazy quantitative brain, this week is not done yet.
Yeah.
So because I haven't checked it off. So let me show you literally what I do. So here's a previous week, but down here in the corner, there's a check mark with a circle.
Yeah.
That week's done.
Oh, interesting. So that's like a note to your brain. Like if you're flipping through, no need to review this page. Everything is checked off.
I did a thing, and I can't remember what year it was in, but I did a thing for a long time. Well, not for a long time. I tried it for a while where I was literally like striking through the page, and it made me unhappy.
To like look and see that. Yeah.
Cross out a whole page. Yeah. But I needed some kind of visual cue that this page is good.
It's complete.
Ready to move on. I do use, and this is I don't know that I use sort of the standard bullet journal stuff, but I do use, you can see like there's an M there, there's a text there. Things that, so like I had on one of my lists in the last couple of weeks, it was was call the plumber. Well, I fixed the problem myself. I didn't have to call the plumber. So there's an X there. Didn't have to happen, but it's done.
Gotcha.
You know, for the idea of things that didn't get done and I really did move them forward, you know, somebody that I was supposed to email, and it turned out that I needed to deal with some other stuff before I emailed her, you know, there's an M, it got moved to a different week.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So some, you know, sort of bullet journaling there.
Yep.
But, so, one of the things I picked up from you was this idea of sort of leaning into the goal stuff and translating that into the weekly. So find the goals.
Now, as you're looking for that, do you do in your Inkwell, are you utilizing those first goal setting pages? Like you go through that process, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I also have an Inkwell goal setting planner.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I talked about this a year ago, and then, you know, the world upended itself and I just quit using it. It's not the kind of goal setting that I need right now. I don't have the kinds of goals that I need to push into that. I actually used that sort of pattern for some work stuff and it's working out really well. I'm just not putting it in that planner.
Gotcha.
But I took this page and kind of leaned into, instead of like setting goals in each of these areas, I sort of described what I want my life to look like.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Here's what my happy, like, you know, home, like what does happy home look like for me?
Yeah.
You know, so move into a new place that will allow me to grow and focus on what is important to me at this time. That's what it says under home. So then I take, oh, this was a note from a podcast I heard. I moved to this page and took the same colors. And so, you know, the home one for quarter one was move. So that's maybe not a good example. Right. But like one of the ones that I have a little bit of trouble with in Inkwell is the dream big.
Dream big. Yeah, a lot of people tell me that.
Yeah, so I decided this year that this was a good one to kind of lean into. And so my dream big is create a bucket list so that I can work towards some experiences that I can share and make meaning from.
Cool.
So my quarter one was find, you know, put 6 things on my bucket list and plan one of them. So then I happened to go to this other little shop that was a bucket journal.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is what I bought to, you know, work on that goal.
Yeah.
So I'm like you, I'm so color coordinated that I went ahead and bought all of the mission boards.
Oh, yeah.
And this has been a game changer for me in terms of what it's doing for my brain. So in the January, my dream bucket list said add 2 things to the list. Like that's for the entire month of January. That is totally doable, totally achievable. And at the end of the month, my little note to the side says done.
Good.
In February, my, you know, dream said plan 1 fun thing. So this wasn't even necessarily one of the big things. It was just like, good Lord, I live in Michigan. The whole world is frozen and locked up. Like what one fun thing can I do?
Yeah.
And so there was a fun thing that I did, and actually,
good.
You know, so, but then my weekly includes this. And the funny thing is apparently I bought these in a different year when the colors were different, because a couple of them I've grabbed, I'm like, these aren't the right colors, but that's okay. I just put a little letter there to tell myself what it is, and it's all good. But for the first time ever, last week, I literally checked off everything that was on my list.
That's
like
awesome.
Achieved. And again, I think it's really important for people to not get all bent up, you know, bent out of shape around, like I set this goal and then I didn't achieve it. Life happens. Sometimes things don't work out. You know, so I'm usually pretty happy if if there are 6 things there for Inkwell Press,
Mhm.
and I pick some small thing out of every one of them to work on for the week, if I get to the end of the week and 3 of them are checked off, I usually feel okay about that. If 4 or 5 are checked off, like this
Like,
is a
super
great
good.
week.
Yeah.
So the idea that, last week was, set up this one program on my computer and take a walk with somebody and like buy a couple of things for my new house and sign up for this this learning website and pick the dates for my summer PTO and update my March budget.
Yeah.
Them all. So
That's cool.
steps don't have to be like this enormous thing. But I love what you've shared over the years because it got me to a place where I could do that for myself in a way that really worked.
Yeah, I think that's a hard thing sometimes with goals is, and I've said on videos before, like I have a love-hate with the word goals and the whole concept, because sometimes it can start to feel like a chore. It can feel daunting. The whole process for some people feels overwhelming. And I think the thing that often people get hung up on is not realizing how, just like you said, how teeny tiny the steps need to be to feel successful and get momentum and build from that. I mean, we can't do it all. We can't do all the big things. We have to take little tiny steps. But I think we fight that because we want, we're impatient or something,
Yeah, we want to see, some big progress, when in reality, if you make big progress in one area, it's probably because you put a lot of effort into it, which means that another area isn't going to have a lot of progress, and that's okay too. But so as I look at these, I'm thinking back to these Q1, because I really did set Q1 goals around that. What do I want my life to look like? By like the second week of January, I didn't necessarily do it January 1st or December 31st. But it is interesting to me to look back right now and say, wow, like I actually am kind of on track. Like a lot of this stuff is kind of happening. So, that's good, kind of. Another thing that I'll share just sort of in general is I used to put, in the last couple of years, I was doing more sort of reflective writing, and I still do. One of the screenshots that I just shared with you had a little note about a phone call and how it made me feel and whatever. I used to do more of that in my Inkwell, and I found that sometimes seeing that up and down journaling in my planner, like I didn't want it in the same place.
Interesting. Okay.
I know a lot of people, and I was looking for this month. That's what I was looking for a minute ago. A lot of people have seen on Facebook this Silken Sonder.
Oh yeah, I have another person.
And I'm not. I'm gonna say
into it.
Whatever. Unfortunately, I got hooked into the subscription, and I've got a few more months coming. But one of the things that I have actually liked about this, so this is the weekly. This is the weekly pages, and this to me, like, for so many reasons, this does not work as planner for me. But I have been trying to do, some journaling here.
Oh, interesting.
And I like the idea of pulling that journaling, during personal upheaval, pandemic upheaval. Like, it's been nice for me to have that in a separate space. And I can tell you right now, I'm not going to keep these. I mean, I have them all sitting right here. But there is a time this summer, this fall, that those will get thrown away. And part of the reason that I've been excited about that is because it's allowed me to know that, like, what's going in here is the more, this is what's going to get retained. That's going to go away.
So did you do it? So in previous years, did you approach this differently? So you were putting reflections in your actual planner then, like more written journal style reflections? Did we had a reflection insert too at one point?
We did, and I've used those. It's another thing I thought I would share. Everybody always talks about, what do you use all your extra pages for? So if I were to pull, and I might have already cleaned it out, but if I were to pull last year's Inkwell, I always keep mine sort of broken up into sections. So not only, this is not just 12 months. As a matter of fact, I think there's only about 6 months in here.
Oh, okay.
My sections, I always have a section at the beginning for the goal stuff. I have a section at the beginning for, just some like things that I might want to have with me. And this year's been weird. I really don't go out very much. But I do have a whole section here for moving plans. So this is
Okay.
one of your old,
Yeah.
when we had these, so it's labeled moving plans. And so, here's the layout of the old
Yeah.
place, the layout of the new place. So
Yeah.
while I was thinking about like, where's the furniture going to go and how am I going to make the
Sure.
move go really smoothly? And, so I've got all of these notes that were here. Those will get trashed pretty soon because that's not something I really
Not relevant. Yeah.
I do have another section right after that for some other projects, which is, pretty sparse right now. In previous years, I had sections at the end for like general note taking. I always had a section that was like church notes.
I remember you saying that before.
Sit like kind of bad. I would have to make sure I picked my right spot in the choir so people couldn't really see me because I sing in the choir in the front of the church. But I would sit in the choir and like make notes during the sermon. It was, again, like kind of a way that my brain processes.
Yeah.
I also go to a church that's pretty academic. We're across the street from the university.
Oh, so yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But so I always have lots of extra note pages in the back. I would do notes for meetings, when I'm in a meeting, and then pull those out, transfer them to something else, trash the page. Again, this is why I'm digging this. I didn't think I would like this disc bound.
Oh, really?
I really didn't. I was not.
Okay.
Yeah, not super excited about this. But yeah, so when you look at my tabs for the months, I literally only put the tabs in for April and May today. And I only have tabs for January through May.
Oh.
And within the next couple of weeks, I will pull January and February out. I usually keep 1 month previous.
And then like
current month.
And then one went
like
after. So like
3 months ahead. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I actually only put, trying to see where I stopped. This is such an odd year because I'm not carrying it.
Yeah.
But so here's July. I've got the 2-day spread for July, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
So, my attempt to like keep the bulk down.
Yeah.
Is I'm not putting all those weekly pages in for December.
So you need them because why?
Yeah. And then behind that, I have my work stuff. So, and I haven't really been using it lately, but look what my work is.
It's a
so ride or die horizontal.
I know, like, wait, is that a vertical? What's happening?
Vertical for work. So what I use the vertical for work is a to-do list. That's all it is.
Okay.
And the 3 sections actually make sense to me. Because for a lot of years, I had used that 4-section sort of Eisenhower matrix.
Okay, yep.
Of important versus urgent. So the idea that translates into 3 sections here works great for me. So today I actually used it because I was thinking about this. And I have 2 things that are in my escalate. These have got to be done today or else. I've got 2 things that are on my cultivate, like these are the things I really need to be working on to keep my work moving forward. And I've got 1 thing down there in the accommodate section, like, yeah, if you need a break, you get to work on this. But, so that's how I use those work pages. And literally at the end of the week, well, at the end of the following week, because they're front to back.
Yeah.
I go through the previous week. I make sure that there's no notes there that I need for anything, transfer them into the computer that I use. My work is very computer based.
Yeah.
And I trash the pages.
Okay.
So because these are to-do lists. That's all they are.
Okay.
So that's what I do. And then in the back, I've got the pocket. And this is why I always say to you,
samplers.
You give me samplers because that's what's here.
It's the easiest, yeah.
It's the easiest. The sampler is here. And then since I've been at home, like literally everything else, apparently I've accumulated a lot of this stuff over the past 3 or 4 years. But this is extra pages.
Okay.
Extra stickers.
You got a good supply.
Yeah.
So when you're done in okay, so like with the way you're doing your planner and you have like the bulk of it's personal and that's the stuff that most of it you're going to keep year over year. So as you're pulling out those sections, do you have like another set of discs and covers? Okay, you do okay.
Yeah. So, and I don't have it all set up right. Last year I did. This is all.
What size discs are those? Like,
oh, these are those. I made a note.
They're Happy Planner.
Ago. Yeah, I hate these discs. They're awful, and I hate the way they look. But I wanted bigger discs. I wanted to see if this was going to work for me. So this is all of
2019, 20. Okay.
Yeah, so I've got 2 full years of old stuff here. Wow. Because I threw out anything, literally it starts with the very first mission board. I threw out everything else.
Okay.
So this is, and I threw out, I don't have any dividers in it.
Yeah, so that keeps the bulk down.
I think these were yours. I've got.
Yeah, are they clear?
I had some of those left over, so I went ahead and put them on. Idea. Yeah. So that's where those are. I've got one that's the goal.
Okay.
So, and it's actually got 2 years worth of goal setting inserts. So I haven't used them all. And I've got the other one that was the one I used last year. So it actually still has a lot of notes and stuff in it. So, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. But, I've got lots of, the outlet for covers is a good deal.
That's a good idea for that kind of storage. That's something I know when she came out with the disc system, and I'd never used a disc, and I'd only seen it in Happy Planner, and I wasn't really into Happy Planner.
No, I mean, you saw the look on my face as soon as I showed you those discs with the hearts in them. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. And so when we got the discs, I was like, this is kind of cool, because I think you were a Franklin Covey planner too, right? In college, you used Franklin Covey? No? Yes? Yes. Nerds unite. Yes. And okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about. So I was, the Franklin Covey's what, like the weird 7 rings or something? It's very trademarked and weird. It's not a 6 ring. Isn't it like 7 or something weird?
Yeah, it's 7. Although this is interesting because the
holder's 3.
Open all the way, but the binder is 3.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, right. The planner is 7. Yeah. So like when she came out with the discs, I think in my opinion, I think there's so much room for like opportunities as far as like accessories and other ways to utilize this planner that I don't think, at least yet, she's doing. Because I think something like you're holding that Franklin Covey used to make, or I'm sure they still make it, I just don't use a planner.
Yeah, I don't use it anymore.
I don't even know what they call that, but it's basically like a time capsule of all your previous things. And it's an easy way to store it, because now the only way to store this is, like you said, buying covers, which if you're doing the outlet, that's a great way to do it, because then it's like way more affordable. But I don't know, I feel like there should be like a massive disc and like something like that.
I agree. And I think there's almost like the secondary market for this, but I don't know. I do think that there's something to be said for, you don't have to keep every little piece and part. I used to have 2 of those Franklin Covey boxes. And I actually went through it I can remember doing it. I went through it a couple of years ago and ditched so much stuff that I could condense it to 1.
Okay.
I thought this is really silly. Like, I don't need blank pages. I'm never going to use this again. So I do think that there's something about being kind of intentional about what you keep.
Sure.
But I will also say, I don't feel like this basket is necessarily always the best way to protect the stuff I haven't used yet.
Well, and that's the thing. Even if you're not, like, to me, I don't keep stuff year over year. Like, I'll throw this whole thing away. But maybe, I like your idea of not having all the months in there, because let's say I want to have a note section, a project section, and who really needs, unless you have a very scheduled life with lots of events, most of us don't need the weekly pages for the whole 12 months. And that's one of the benefits of the disc. But like you said, if you're not buying a secondary set of covers and discs or something, you're keeping it, in a basket, or I have mine in a drawer. And it'd be nice to have some kind of place that was more protective, that you didn't have to, and I don't know what the idea would be, but that you wouldn't have to invest in like a whole nother planner essentially to hold your backup or hold your previous year. I don't know.
Well, and I don't mind asking you this question too, and that is, part of my problem is these are stickers.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go to look for something, I have a tendency to default to the sampler because I don't know what I've got.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the question of, is what I'm looking for something I'm going to use a lot of, or is it something that's kind of a one-off?
Mm-hmm.
Pulling out the daily action step stickers, sticking 3 or 4 of them in and then realizing they were last year's colors. Didn't really bother me, but nevertheless, I was like, why can't I find this? So I just, I keep a lot of these bags that
Yeah.
just to kind of protect things,
Yeah.
because I do have a couple of sheets that I had to trash because they
Get
got
messed
caught
up
on the edge. Yeah. And I don't want to do that. I love, these are nice sturdy stickers, but at the same time,
yeah.
and they're not super expensive. This is a nice indulgence for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to just be wasteful. So I don't know. I mean, I'd love to know what other people do. I know I've seen people
for
with
storage,
photo protectors and things.
Yeah, I suck at storing my stickers. As organized of a person as I am, I'm a hot mess. So let me show you. These are my not very organized Moxie ones. Literally, Amy, there's stickers that are not in the thing. So I don't go back and organize this, but regardless of that, these things for this, where did I put the one that doesn't look like a mess? These things, which I got, what's Recollections or Recco? Is that Michael's brand or something?
One of those places. Yeah. It's probably Michael's because I don't go.
Yeah. So it's I
won't shop at Hobby Lobby. So
yeah, but I think that brand is Michael. So it's 4.7 by 6.4 little photo album. I think you can get these on Amazon too. And actually this is nice. So what I had originally done when I pre-Moxie Life is I had one for each color palette. So then I'd put all my stickers in there, and this was an easy way to flip through for the little sheets or the quarter sheets. And then for the bigger ones, I bought these, but I don't like these. These are some brand on Amazon called Coco Poca. I didn't even know that's what it was called. But this seems silly, but this is actually, so this one, here, let me show you. See how these pages, it has this I don't know, white. I don't know what material that is in between it, but then you have 2 openings. So I can put a sheet on this side and a sheet on this side, and it's top loading, right? This thing, piece of crap, it is it's just clear page. It's a clear page, right? And you have to side load it. No, hold on. You side load it here. So sometimes these rip. It's kind of annoying to have the loading piece be in the seat. Now, obviously, if you're keeping photos in this, that would make sense because you don't want them falling out.
Right. If it's a permanent thing that you're putting it in once. But I tried to get into scrapbooking when I was in my 30s, 15, 20 years ago. And it wasn't for me. But I will say I was good at it.
Yeah.
And I got a real preference for these kinds of things. If you're going to use something, you want the thing that works for you.
Yep.
You want the quality of paper, you want the quality of plastic, you want those divider, so yeah. And maybe I just need to, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't left the house much. I'm very much looking forward to, sort of resuming that part of my life where you go to a store and wander around.
And shop. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, this is how I do it. I know some of our customers, I've seen some people have a mini, I think kind of the Chrissy Ann Designs binder things. I haven't looked much into those, but I think it's a traditional 3-ring binder, or maybe it's the mini binder size. I can't remember. And then they do essentially sheet protectors. And we've toyed around with the idea over the years of doing something similar to Chrissy Ann Designs, where she creates uses some of the space of the sticker as a border, so you can punch it and then put it through in a book, which I think there's pros and cons to that. When you're doing really big sticker sheets, taking up some of that space where stickers could have been is totally fine. When you're doing these smaller sheets, then you're starting to encroach on the number of stickers. And because the sticker's not in a sheet protector, you know, even though these are sturdy, they do kind of peel off if they touch each other too much. I don't know. So I think, and then some people use like, what are those things? You know, I think they're like photo protectors also. There's like a big plastic case and there's little 4x6 plastic cases inside of the big case
Yeah.
I'm talking about. So I suck at sticker storage, but I know some people are really good at it. Half the time I don't even know what I have.
I'm thinking about, you know, like when I kind of got into the scrapbooking stuff, I had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things that actually became a burden to me in actually doing any kind of scrapbooking was the sheer amount of stuff I had.
Yeah.
You know, it's the joke you see on the internet about, you know, buying craft supplies is a completely different hobby than using craft supplies.
I've seen that.
And so as I think about what really works for me,
Yeah.
Anything that I can do that simplifies it, so I can get away from buying and storing and getting into the using.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess as much as this is not, you know, the most organized, looking, whatever, it kind of makes me realize that if it's in here, I should use it.
That's true.
All in one place.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I don't need to keep buying, you know, so this is all Inkwell insert. Yep. And obviously some of these, like this is the rest of my vertical
for work
stuff. You know, this is the rest of my horizontal stuff. You know, so things like that, like clearly I'm going to use those. But when I look at this and I go, wow, those are lined pages and those are more lined pages. And you know, it's a good reminder, like I don't need to buy any more of that, even if it's in the outlet.
That's true.
I don't need to buy it because I have it. Mm-hmm. And to a lesser extent, I think it's a good reminder with stickers to be able to say to myself, okay, like I'm using this, and the brand new bright shiny thing that just showed up in my email.
In your inbox. Just trying to pimp out what sticker now?
Like, you know, is there something that I already have that I can try and like see if that's going to work for me before I buy
a new thing? Absolutely.
Because, you know, certainly I've bought some things that I was like, really thought that would work for me. Really not working.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, even as part of the samplers, like I've discovered these don't work for me. Like I've got them in my, I've got them in my layouts for these couple of weeks because I'm kind of trying to like
get rid of stuff.
Get rid of stuff so I can buy something that does work for me. But those little individual dots.
You can't see. It's so funny because I can't do the strips. I like the individual because when I have a strip of like 6 check boxes and I only use 3, oh my God, I'm like, I can't handle this. Something bad is going to happen.
But here again, for me, you know, I think this is where I take that phrase functional planning kind of to heart. The idea of laying out those little individual stickers
makes you crazy.
It makes me crazy. And I'm kind of hard on my planner. You know, I do have a tendency to leave it out and open on my desk, which means that things get set on it.
Sure.
I drag stuff across it. One of the reasons I went back and ordered those weekly action step things, which is so funny because I thought I didn't have any, so I ordered them. And that's when I discovered that I must have had some old ones because then I pulled them out to use them and wrong.
Yeah.
I've told that story 3 times now, but there was a week that I was going to use the individual colored arrows.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That go, you know, that have the right colors.
Yeah.
And here it is. And so I laid it all out.
Yeah.
And had all the colors and had all my stuff written out. Yep. By the end of the week,
you had pushed them off.
3 of them are missing. I don't know, you know.
Sometimes, yeah, I've done that where all of a sudden I keep flipping a page and it gets like snagged, and then all of a sudden it's like there was a sticker there.
And I'm also going to say I think that's. I don't know if that little there's a something on my page right here. I can't tell if it's blood. Or coffee, chocolate.
That planner goes through a lot.
Stain on this page. And I feel very certain that I positioned, repositioned, trying to get them straight. So by
They had like no stick left.
there was no stick left. And then clearly this was a really rough week. Because like it's either blood or chocolate. I don't know what the big stain on that page is.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
So, well, this has been fun, Jess. I'm kind of thinking we maybe ought to wrap up here. I gotta go do some more work. And
Yes, you have a work day that you're in the middle of. So yeah, that was awesome. Thank you. And thanks for this idea. This is cool.
Like I said, I was just, I think one of the things that some of us that have been really active in the Knockout Print Shop VIP group, loved the name change, by the way. One of the things, we feel like we kind of feel like we know each other. You see the same names pop up over and over. I've got people that I've connected to outside of the group. Actually, there's one woman I will probably go have lunch with sometime this summer because we're close enough that we can. Hi, Sonia.
Sonia. I was going to say, is it Sonia? Because I knew you both are. Sonia's great.
But, you start to think like, I want to know more about this person, like how they're using this or what they're doing with that, or, and I've posted videos before and that's fine, but I think it's more fun when it's a conversation. So.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that's the one hard part about being a person that like creates videos. Like I said to you guys, is I plan the same way all the time. And if you watch any of my videos, you're like, oh, let me guess, you're putting this on this side, Jess, and this on the other. I mean, I do the same thing. So I feel like in order to give value, I was getting at the point where I just didn't, and I'm not really a fake planner. We're like mocking up and trying to go, okay, let me pretend like my life situation is different and imagine how I would use this. My brain just doesn't work like that. So I thought this idea was brilliant because it gets, like you said, it's a conversation, which is what I prefer all the time. And then it just gives everybody that watches a chance, like you said, to get to know each other, their lifestyle, how they use the planner, because everybody is so different. And
and I'll tell you what, if anybody makes it to the end of this video, here's my request. I mean, it's the same thing I asked from you, but I would love to know, I do the thing that you're doing, only I do it this way. Like, how could I bump up? How could I up my game on something that's already working for me and make it a little bit better? So my ask for you is like, what's the sticker that I'm not using?
I'm gonna look
the obvious gap. What's the what's the practice that I'm not doing? Oh, I know I promised that I would show you this and I didn't. And that is how I use the extra pages.
Oh, yeah.
So first thing, somebody in this group a long time ago. So here's my month divider for March, which by the way, somebody also said, if you are still using these if you still have these, put packing tape over this, and mine are holding up great. This is like year 3 on these.
Oh, perfect.
I moved the last page of my Inkwell to the beginning. So there's my mission board. So I often don't end up using this front for anything, but this will probably be where my month-end reflection goes.
Is that the page? I can't tell with the lighting. Is that the page with I'm like pointing like you're here with me. Is it the page? Oh, that is
the very last page of
with the daily habits at the bottom of the trio. Okay.
I don't use the daily habits.
Okay.
But what I often end up doing, so here's February. I often end up using this space and this space for like the month reflection and like the month wins.
Oh, that's a clever idea.
Because this is such a mess that I don't think to go in there and grab one of your reflection sheets that I still have left over. And then the other thing that I do, so at the end of the month, so this is notes and rambling.
Yep.
This turns into my budget, and I am going to actually hold this so that it doesn't show. But these are my budget categories.
Okay.
What I've got allocated for each of those.
Okay.
And then I take a insert page, a notes page.
Yep.
To actually keep track. And I do this on paper. I've done all kinds of different budgeting methods. But I keep track of like the physical act of having to write it down is like, oh, did I really spend
Okay, I can get that.
So I keep track of this here, total it, transfer it back to here, and then this one can get trashed.
When you do that, are you doing every expense like in like almost like old school check registry, like dang, you're hardcore.
When I was teaching, I
Mhm.
had kind of I had a whole bunch of things that happened all at the same time when I was teaching, and I ended up with kind of a lot of debt and crawled my way out of that hole. And so
That's good.
yeah, so you do what works.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I can't comprehend doing it that way, but like you said, you got to do what works for you, because if you try to do it my way and it doesn't work, it's not going to help you. So
Because I have better income at this point, it's so easy to spend more money.
yeah,
And if I don't hold myself, and that's part of like why one of my weekly action steps is like update the budget.
okay,
Because when I was really pinching pennies, I was updating it like multiple times a day.
yeah, sure.
Now I'm like, oh, I haven't updated it in a week and a half. Well, if I go a week and a half, it's too long, and I let things
slide. You make
I let
different.
things slide. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
So again, having disc bound, being able to move pages around, like this is what works for me. It's really nice to have it all in one place.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I mean, I've been using, I don't know what planner I'm using at this point. I'm using Inkwell, I'm using Moxie. But the one thing I never thought I'd like the disc, but I love the disc, and using Moxie is really hard because I love having, even if I don't change a page, I love the disc. So I'm team disc.
Yeah. I will say though, I kind of miss these. I don't know. I like these. I don't know. This was my second one. You asked me how long ago I
Oh
started.
yeah. Is that the 2015? You know what color? Let me see.
No, this was an academic one. So this was a 16-17 academic.
Okay.
And
I like that font.
I don't think this is the first one I had. I think this is the second one.
Okay. I think we both came into it probably around the same time. I had 20.
Yeah.
Oh wait. No, 2016 was the first one I had. I ordered it in 2015.
I remember seeing something that you had posted one time and thinking,
yeah,
you and I we adopted this at about the same time.
Yeah.
And I know that I went with this because I'd had this, anybody that live well, spend
Oh
less.
yeah. I've never even seen that in person.
I loved the concept.
Yeah.
It was too big. I didn't like the size.
Oh, weird. It is bigger. I never knew that.
I didn't like this. Well, I don't think it is now. I think now.
Oh, it's not. Oh, okay.
But the size was too big, and I didn't like the paper.
Oh, so it was different paper too.
Yeah, the paper is really thin. And so I actually, that's why I ended up with an academic, because I abandoned this halfway through the year.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I found Inkwell Press.
Okay.
Was because I was like, for the love of all things good, I need something that is the right size and better paper quality.
Yeah. Well, that's Inkwell. Yeah. Cool. That's awesome.
Glad you got the memo on, matching outfits for our chat today. And it's really good to talk to you.
It was great to talk to you. I know it's been too long.
All right. Well, have a great day.
You too. Thanks, Amy.
Send me some recommendations.
Well, you do me a favor. Shoot me an email with the picture of your spread that was like that blank one, and then okay, cool.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.